Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. In today's video, we're going to briefly analyze the main tactical theme in Real Madrid's 2-0 win over Espanyol to remain perfect in La Liga under Xavi Alonso. So when we break it all down and we do look at the board, we have both sides in a 4-4-2. Madrid could have been more of a 4-2-3-1, but technically Mbappe and Garcia were on the same line of attack for most of this game. And when you look at how Madrid looked to break down this Espanyol side, dropping off to two banks of four, we ended up seeing them in the first half shift into more of a 3-2-5 with Vinny Jr. and Carvajal hugging the touchline, and then you had the three attacking players in narrow pockets of space just ahead of the back line. Valverde and Tchouaméni were caught in that midfield zone and they were occupied around a hexagonal shape, and from there they struggled to impact the game in those central areas, and Madrid were relying on their center backs and Fernandes to carry the ball forward to help progress the attack. Ultimately, in many ways, Espanyol's shape out of possession presented several issues for Real Madrid due to the fact that they were able to nullify the two central midfielders out of the game, as they would have their front two sitting on Tchouaméni and Valverde. And even if one looked to push forward, they had one of their spare central midfielders picking them up to ensure that they couldn't receive the ball freely. That was due to the fact that the Madrid front three that were narrow and central were occupying the spaces in between the fullbacks and the center backs, and then you'd have Garcia being closed down by the other center back. At times, both center backs were closing down Mbappe and Garcia, whereas Mastantuono was dropping off into space in the gap between the left-sided Espanyol wide player and the left central midfielder, or the advanced space ahead of the left back and the center back. The issue here is that Madrid were struggling to progress the play into those spaces, so the attacking players weren't getting on the ball, and when they shifted the ball out towards the channels, more so the left-hand side, Vinny Jr. was outnumbered in several scenarios, whether it be 1v2 or 1v3. Basically, Espanyol would have their right wide player and the right back sitting near Vinny Jr. and then have protection from the center back and the central midfielder. When Vinny Jr. would slow down the play with Mbappe drifting in towards that zone, it was very ineffective. And frankly, whenever he was too individualistic when he had the ball in those zones, he would have teammates drifting in towards those areas but would attempt to go alone by himself and dribble pass markers, and he struggled to make an impact. Or he would simply just make the wrong decision in the final third and the execution would let him down. There were several occasions where he attempted to dribble past several defenders or attempt to cut across them to fire efforts on goal, and he'd either lose possession or his efforts wouldn't even test the goalkeeper. In many ways, there was just a lack of execution sharpness with Madrid in terms of their overall build-up and playing passes in the final third. We witnessed them botch quick combination plays out in wider areas. Cross-field switches that did come at the minimum were unsuccessful as well, along with balls over the top and behind the Espanyol backline. Crosses from the right-hand side from Carvajal were unsuccessful, and when he attempted to deliver them in towards the penalty area, they were often blocked on the first attempt. And then in that opening half, we rarely saw any combination plays between Carvajal and Mastantuono that were successful in terms of bypassing the Espanyol backline and creating legitimate goal-scoring opportunities. In the second half down that right-hand side, you witnessed a shift from Alonso, where it was mostly Carvajal now operating deeper in the half spaces and Mastantuono operating in the wide position on the right touchline, and from there created more space for him to get involved, and Carvajal was doing a very good job of serving as a decoy so that the attacking player can receive the ball with a bit more space. Frankly, Madrid's best opportunities down that right-hand side prior to taking a two-goal lead stemmed with Mbappe carrying the ball in towards that zone and simply combining with a teammate to get them into a legitimate goal-scoring position, or when he received the ball between the lines just ahead of the left back and the Espanyol center back, and from there he was able to combine with Carvajal, make an underlapping run in towards right half space. But the same issue that haunted Madrid throughout that first half specifically was that they lacked the execution with the pullback when they got into good positions. Whereas on the left-hand side, there were times where you witnessed Fernandes pushing forward if Valverde or Tchouaméni were occupying the space in behind him, operating as a third center back, and you'd see Alvaro Fernandes pushing forward into the half space in between the fullback and the center back, and that's where you would end up seeing Vinny Jr. hugging the touchline, or at times you would see Mbappe dropping deeper so the left back could occupy that space. Frankly, Madrid's best chances in open play when they were looking to break down this Espanyol backline stemmed down the left-hand side, where it was either Fernandez splitting defenders to find Vinny Jr. in an advanced position, but when he got into that zone, he failed to get his pullback across the penalty area. And the same could be said for when Vinny Jr. played the ball for the underlapping run of the left back towards the byline, but when he got into that position in the penalty area, he failed to combine with his teammates. Ultimately, the consistent theme throughout that opening half for Madrid was that when they got into good positions, one, it witnessed Mbappe dropping off a bit deeper and varying his positioning to receive the ball in space, and two, one of their back five, whether it be the central midfielders or the back three in their 3-2-5, being aggressive with their positioning and playing penetrative passes to get the attacking Madrid players into spaces between the lines. Mbappe was a key player here because he had the ability to drop off deeper and drag markers towards them and then simply evade them with his dribbling ability, carry the ball in towards the final third in space, and then place his teammates in attacking positions where they could create or serve as the finisher. If he wasn't progressing the play with his dribbling and ball carrying skills, it simply required one of the central midfielders or the defenders to be a bit more ambitious and step forward to bypass the midfield bank and find Mbappe in those pockets of space to receive the ball, and he would do that reliably as well. So while it was clear that Mbappe did a very good job of shifting from side to side to find space outside of the midfield bank to combine with the fullback and the wide player, the one issue that he simply had was his finishing in and around that penalty area despite scoring the second goal. However, in these situations when he was simply a creator breaking in behind or getting himself into good spaces, he did a very good job of receiving that ball, carrying it into good areas, and then finding his teammates and placing them in legitimate goal-scoring positions. But when they received the ball in those zones, they failed to execute. So while it has been stated that individualism didn't work for Madrid against this Espanyol side, it was a combination of Vinny Jr. and Mbappe in transition that harmed that backline. But the other key component to Madrid having success was Militao. You witnessed that in the build-up to their opener, where he simply did a very good job of dragging the press towards him and bypassing the front two, and then firing a great shot from distance beyond the keeper. However, in the build-up to some of Madrid's best chances, it's Militao winning possession and then playing the ball towards his teammate, who can then find Vinny Jr. down the left channel. And while we do witness some great individualism from Vinny Jr. there, his poor touch guides him into the left channel and he places the ball across goal for Mbappe in a position where he should finish, but he's unable to test the keeper. Then in the build-up to the second goal, it's Carvajal inviting the press, and he's able to bypass two Espanyol players to find Militao in a pocket of space, and from there, he slides the ball out to Mbappe in a pocket of space, who slides it over to Vinny Jr., and Vinny Jr. can then carry the ball in towards left half space, drag four markers towards him, and then pull the ball back towards Mbappe, who finishes from distance with a great effort. So as you can see, despite a combination of poor execution in the final third and disjointed attacking in Real Madrid's lopsided approach, it was evident that Kylian Mbappe's productivity in attacking areas presented several issues for Espanyol.